Welcome to Let Your Light Shine, the podcast where we illuminate the path to your best self. I'm your host, John Louis Hardrick, and I'm so excited to have you join us on this journey of empowerment and self-discovery. Today, and in each episode, we'll dive deep into the themes inspired by the book, Let Your Light Shine, Unleashing Your Inner Glow through Essential Self-Care Practices for Empowered Women. This podcast is for anyone seeking to cultivate their inner glow, embrace their power, and truly let their light shine. In our conversations, we'll explore different topics that resonate with women and girls from all walks of life. We'll discuss the SHINE method, practical and transformative self-care practices like sleep, proper hydration, tuning into our intuition, and nourishing our bodies while remaining fully engaged. But that's not all. We'll also delve into cultivating joy through hobbies, practicing grace, forgiveness, and engaging in activities that make our souls light up. Each episode features incredible women who share their stories, wisdoms, and insights. They're entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, mothers, daughters, all shining examples of how embracing these practices can lead to a fulfilled and empowered life. So whether you're looking to ignite a new spark in your life or fan the flames of an existing one, Let Your Light Shine is here to guide and inspire you. Remember, for more resources and information, you can always visit lightshinebook.com. Let's get started and explore together how we can all let our light shine brighter. Join me, John Louis Hardrick, in this empowering journey. Here's to letting our lights shine together. And now, let's dive in to today's episode. So let's talk about how you, like you said, the self-care, balancing it all. Let's talk about shine, how you let your light shine. So S stands for sleep. How to sleep? What are some of the tips? What is something that you read in the book that kind of caught your attention? What do you want to tell our listeners?
The one thing that I loved about your book was I felt like I was having a conversation with you. You knew exactly what I was thinking, especially when you talked about insomnia, and it's like you've been there, done that. And I almost felt like not only were you recognizing that this is a challenge in certain areas, but you were also giving me tips on how to overcome them. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about it like that before, but it was real conversational. It was real engaging. Even from the first chapter, I stayed very engaged throughout the book because it's like you were talking to me like a girlfriend. And it sounded no different, Jocelyn, than how you actually sound in real life. Because, some people may write books and stories and you're like, that's not really their voice. But that was the opposite for you. And I know you personally. So reading the book, I was like, oh my goodness, she's speaking to me like she would normally speak to me. So kudos to you on that book. It kept me really engaged. It was very good. And I love the conversational piece to it. I don't know if obviously you meant to do it on purpose, but it was real engaging. What gave you that idea? I know you're asking questions, but what gave you that idea to engage with the reader this way versus a more formal way, if you will?
The book, I've said this a few times, it's a love letter to myself that I share with the world. So I wrote it like it's a love letter, right? Like you feel loved when you read it. Like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I know I should do better, but you're right. You gotta, I heard that pregnant with my daughter. I was like, she was a shock. And I had all these plans for my career and all my businesses, and then everything just had to stop. I was like, okay, I'm 42, about to have a baby. Like, this is not a game.
I remember when you called me on the phone and you were like, I'm pregnant, girl. I said, what? You were like, yep, I checked. I've been sick and this is what's up. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That's a miracle in it itself.
Yes,
That's a miracle.
yes, she was. She was a miracle, and she's a beautiful baby girl and just gorgeous. And I just look at her like, girl, you just wanted to be here, you know?
Yeah,
But it does require self-care when you're pregnant, especially at that advanced age. I can't just get up and go and so everything had to stop. And I said, okay, what am I going to do now to really take care of myself? Especially because I've done this whole newborn baby thing. But again, this is 8 years later. I was really tired first time. And so I had to revisit my self-care journey. And then this book came out of it.
that's amazing. I'm glad it's
Thank
here.
you.
I'm glad.
I know. And I'm glad it's blessing you. So let's go back to sleep, girl. You're trying to avoid that question.
I am because sleep. So I don't know what other lawyers you've interviewed and spoken to, but insomnia have it since getting ready for the bar exam. I did not have insomnia through law school, which was random, but I think I just had this need through the bar exam to get more out of my day, which meant I need to wake up earlier. I need to go to sleep later. And before you know it, when I used to sleep 9 hours, then I was sleeping 7, then 6, then 5 and 4, because I needed to get more out of my day. There was this belief that I had that the more hours I had in my day, the more productive I was being. Little did I know that's a lie. Now I'm back to sleeping about my 8-hour days, but I can tell you it's still a challenge till today, right? Because right overnight, my mind is just going. It's like, I have this to do, I have that to do. And if I have a fear of anything or a concern about anything, it wants to my mind wants to remind me at 3 o'clock in the morning. So one of the things that I did was, I occasionally take a sleep aid like Z-Quil or any over the counter type of sleep aid, but we know that's not long term and that's not sustainable. So what I got me this sign that said, "It is well with my soul." And there's a beautiful Christian song that says that. And I just put it up right in front, right as soon as I wake up. I took the TV out of my room. That's one big thing that I did. I even took my radio out of my room, like my speaker. Normally I would have the speaker and play music. And I'm like, the music would wake me up in the middle of the night. Like if it was a song I like, then I'm like, okay, this is not working out. So I thought, "It is well with my soul." I had a notepad right next to my nightstand. And whatever my biggest fear is, I just write it down, kind of get it out of my head, put it in my notepad, look up, and I'm like, whatever happens is going to happen. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason. So whenever I'm having those difficult times, write them down. I do not pick up my phone anymore. I used to be like, well, let me put it in my notepad. Well, from the notepad, here comes Facebook, here comes Instagram, here comes YouTube, Pinterest. And I'm like, before you know it, I would be up 2 to 3 hours. So one thing that I'd say is put the phone down, don't pick it up. There is nothing on there that you need to see at that time. So I just write it down, and that has helped me some. But I can tell you, Jocelyn, it is a challenge, especially when you have so much to do. You have so many clients you're representing, and you know that they're going through very difficult times wherever they may be, and you're in your bed sleeping. But I'm grateful. Get yourself a comfortable bed. I was cheap with my mattress. Okay. I was cheap. I was like, whatever sounds special, I'll take that. Mm-mm. I invested in a really much more comfortable bed. And that helped out a lot, and good pillows. That sounds rare, but really good sturdy pillows really helped. And another tip before I don't want to forget this, weighted blanket. I don't know if anybody has spoken about a weighted blanket. Oh my goodness. It is the most wonderful and amazing thing. I have a 20-pound one. You can get it from Target, Walmart, online, Amazon. And that weighted blanket just makes you feel cuddled and hugged. And I noticed that when I sleep with my weighted blanket and my fans, I drop the AC down. Listen, I pay for that electric bill. It's high anyway. What difference does it make? 250 versus 300. It's high anyway. I mean, let's be real. I'm gonna drop my AC.
I'm laughing because our parents was like, you turned it up my light bill. My electricity bill. They never let me put the air down.
Listen, whenever the electric bill people want to raise your rates anyway, whether you use it or not, they raise it. So listen, I'm going to give them a reason to raise my bill. Okay. I know I budget accordingly, but it helps my sleep. So my weighted blanket, I call her Betty. She's named and everything. Me and Betty go to bed, and it's the best thing. And you know what, too? And I'll stop after this. My husband and I used to share a blanket. No, no, nope, no. Now we have our own. And it's kind of bizarre how I actually sleep better with my own blanket. We don't have to fuss and fight over the blanket anymore. He has his own, I have my own, and it works out beautifully.
Nice. Those are some great tips, Danielle. I wasn't expecting all that. Okay. I have a weighted blanket too, and I need to pull that back out. But I
Good.
also talk about hot flashes and menopause, which I'm going through. So that's why I had to stop using it because I'm like waking up drenched. So, but it's like you said, you need the physical comfort and the mental
Right.
comfort. And then you have tips for both. So that's perfect.
Thank you. Thank
Perfect.
you.
So now let's talk about one little plug because you said you have your little notepad, got the
Yes.
journal,
I,
and that's what it does. It has quotes in it, right? So you can read it. It has a visual journal and it has a note daily planner, so you can just write the things down that's in your head, get it out of your head, and then go to
exactly.
sleep. And it'll be there in the morning because now you won't forget it, right?
Right. Exactly. And you can read it and stress about it then. Yeah.
So hydration, and you're running back and forth to court. I've been running around to court 4 years. I spent just running all over the place to court, and I'm teaching. You used to be running around the law school. Now you're running around a hospital, right? How do you stay
Yep.
hydrated with all this running around?
Listen, you got to, but the more you drink water, the more bathroom breaks you got to take, which is annoying. It really is. But the good thing is it helps you disconnect too, right? Because you know how they say you should be standing up every hour, you should be walking outside, and you hear all these tips that people talk about, but how often do we actually do it? Never, right? I'm almost done with this brief. I'm almost done with this email. I'm almost done with this call. So I'll take a break later. Water forces you to take that break. Okay. So I intentionally drink enough water to force me to take breaks. It's kind of weird. So if anything, use it as your ability to step back from your work because you'll have no choice, right? You're going to have to go to the bathroom. So that's what I do. And it's helped me lost a lot of weight, Jocelyn. Through the pandemic, I lost a lot of weight. And I'm telling you, without the water, the weight wasn't really coming off. No matter how much I exercised or ate right or as better as I could, when I incorporated the gallon of water, which is hard to do, but at least half a gallon, the pounds started coming off. So some people plateau in their weight loss and they don't know why. And I'm just saying, add more water to it and you'll be surprised how you start losing the weight.
Yeah, and your body is really telling you it needs stuff. And if it thinks it's not going to get what it needs, it's going to hold on.
Yep.
That's what happens with a lot of that stubborn weight, right? It's like, okay, I've changed what I've eaten, but if it feels like, oh, you're depriving me of food and I don't know when it's coming again, oh, hold on. If it's like I'm dehydrated and I won't get water, I'm gonna hold on to the food as a form of water. So that's
Exactly.
a really good point. Yeah. And then, there's that meme. If you run into the bathroom, you can't be in other people's business. So drink your water. You're gonna be too busy running to the bathroom, be in other people's business, because that's when we get in trouble at work.
Unless you hear their business in the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Then
That's a whole other
no,
story.
that's a whole nother story. But listen, it gives you time to disconnect.
It
And
does.
that's what I
That's a good
need.
point.
Sometimes I just need a little bit. It forces you to take your breaks, which
Yeah.
is a win-win if you ask me. It's annoying though, I'm not gonna lie. Having to go to the bathroom every 5 seconds. But hey,
Yeah. And in the book, so check out the book. There's some tips about how to lessen the impact on your bladder and still drink all that water. So intuition. Now, this one is not as easy as all the other ones. And when we're young, we have a really good intuition. Then we start to get older, and other people's voices
it
get in our
doesn't
head, and
necessarily
we stop
have to
trusting our
happen that
own
way.
gut. So, what are times that you trusted your intuition and it really helped you out or saved you? Or how do you get back in touch with it?
Man, as soon as you asked that, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about when I left my director job at Cooley Law School, I transitioned to a director of team member relations at Tampa General. And Tampa General is a big healthcare system. And I thought, man, I made it. Like, this is an amazing position. You know, I had great leadership. But one thing that I noticed was that I didn't want to grow in that field anymore. I didn't want to grow in HR anymore like I had been. And it took me a while to realize, okay, you know, not everyone's dreams, aspirations, or thoughts have to be your own. And I had to take a step back and resign from that position. And it was, I just wanted a little bit more, not work-life balance per se, but I wanted something more positive. And HR sometimes is very heavy to carry. And thankfully, I had worked for an amazing leadership there, and I had gone to them and I resigned. And I said, look, I'm resigning. And they were like, where are you going? And I'm like, nowhere, but I have a bar card, right? And this bar card is going to make a way when there's no way, because this piece of plastic was super expensive. But, you know, my bar card makes a really fine pillow. You know, all I need is Jesus and this bar card, and, and I'm going to make a way somehow. And I worked for an amazing executive vice president named Qualenta that said, you know what do you want to go? What do you want to do? And I told her, you know what? I want to go to compliance and privacy. And she's like, but you're going to take a step down, right? From being a director to a manager, because compliance and privacy already had a director. So I wouldn't be able to take over that role. And she's like, you're going to take a step back, right? And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes taking a step back is really what you need at the time. So my mind, my gut, my spirit was telling me, you know, take a step back, focus on learning, growing yourself first. And then in the future, perhaps you can go back into a director role. And it was the best decision I ever made. But one of the things is we think we made it. Remember when you started talking about working, and the money and the title, and ultimately wasn't serving me the way I needed it to. So I took a step back, did a lot of, trust me, what I do is busy. Is really, really busy. But that's what I would say is, even when you think that other people, you know, role, other people's experiences at all.
You're so right. So, you know, our intuition can serve us at work. It can serve us in relationships, right? Just like you said, too. You just knew. You can't explain it to other people because it's your intuition, right? And they don't
Right.
share that. And it can serve you in, like you said, no coincidences. I was just talking to someone about how she mentioned my name to someone and the person never reached out to me for whatever reason. And then I happened to bump into her at the right time with the right thing that she needed. So without her even like taking the action and reaching out to me, she met me anyway, got what she needed, we connected. And like I said, no coincidences, right? I'm like, all the things that had to come together for us to interact in that specific way. But yeah, you gotta learn to trust it. But especially in corporate America, man, you can't say because of my intuition.
No,
That can't be like the reason. So you have to come up with other things. And you
right.
worked in HR, so you know some of the hiring and firing sometimes is on intuition, right? Like somebody's right on paper, but you meet them, it's like
You're like, something's up, but just trust it, right? You know yourself best. I mean, trust it. And hey, if you make the wrong call, you know, you pick yourself up, right? And
right.
you keep it going, but always trust it and just don't. I think I had to convince myself, because somebody else thinks I'm doing great and somebody else thinks I'm fantastic doesn't necessarily mean I feel it. And I got to go wherever I want to grow in. And I think that's important, just to go wherever you want to grow. And so I'm glad I did that. It sounds bizarre and a bad decision to other people, but it was the best decision for me. And how blessed I was to be able to be given that opportunity too. I know that, but you know, I'm glad to be in the position I'm in right now. And I wouldn't change it, Jocelyn. I wouldn't change it any other way. And I went with my gut and I trusted my intuition. And that's what I think we as women have to do more. We're constantly doubting ourselves. When all these other men out there, okay, listen, they are confidently wrong, okay? And they do it. And if something happens, setback, they pick themselves up and keep it pushing. Whereas we women just want to make the right decision every time at all time. But that was the right decision for me. And I encourage women to just take that step. Do it. Forget it. Men would do it. You can do it too. Or you can even do it better. So
Yeah, there's that. And in the book, I explore the reasons. So it's not about blaming or shaming, but it's recognizing that this is a pattern we're stuck in. And a lot of roles that I play in, I have people who, I read their entire backgrounds, I have access to a lot of information for some of the roles I'm in. And I always try to get women like, why don't you want to apply for this? They're like, oh, you think I'm good enough? I'm like, I got 20 years of experience. And you realize the people who got me business doing this stuff on here doing it. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, okay. Okay, ladies, we got some work to do. Let's break these patterns. Let's let our light shine.
exactly.
So let's talk about nourishment, because you mentioned earlier you had lost a lot of weight before and you've been on a health journey. We nourish ourselves with food, but also experiences and connections and things like that. How do you nourish yourself?
Exercise.
Oh, well, that's
Exercise is
engagement. So we're going to get to eat,
oh,
but with nourishment,
mm,
like, are there any special
mm,
drinks, foods, experiences, movies, books, things like that?
mm. This is gonna sound bizarre, but I'm one of those women that loves documentaries, that loves true crime documentaries. I'm one of those people, but watching TV and listen, I don't always see these like historical movies. And sometimes I just watch, I don't want to say like ratchet TV. I don't want to say that, but similar to that, right? Think about like any of those ratchet TVs just to like let go of my mind a little bit. I like watching stuff that I don't have to think about. I was watching one show, was it The Ozarks on Netflix? Listen, I had to think about it too much. I had to find, I'm like, who is that person? Who's that person? I'm like, no, that doesn't nourish my mind at all. And my husband's like, how come it doesn't? This is wonderful. And I'm like, no, I want something I don't have to think about that much. I want to halfway listen to it and still follow the story. In addition to crime, true crime documentaries, I like watching just regular TV. I love 90 Day Fiance, and I'm like, man, my life is a little better than this. But anything like that, obviously reality TV is not so much reality. Let's be real. But I like watching shows that are just mindless. And I know that sounds like, are you nourishing your mind to that? But I'm letting my mind rest. And I'm not having to be on 100% of the time. So that's really what I do. In addition to talking on the phone, connecting with people I love, finding out what's going on in their lives, then finding out what's going on in my life, which is great. So I do those two things.
Yeah, so she's ratchet adjacent, not all the way ratchet. Listen, my husband loves 90 Day Fiance and the court shows and
Yes.
and women with the crime, true crime. Why do women like that so much? I'm still trying to figure that one out. Because one of our other guests did the same thing. Like, I love the true crime. I go to sleep to that. I'm like, what? No, give me nightmares.
It does give me nightmares. So I don't watch it at night. But dude, I don't know why. And it's usually stories about other women or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why, actually. My husband, does your husband like? My husband does not.
No, he likes the court shows, like Judge Judy, People's Court, but not, yeah, girl, Judge Judy. Judge Million on the People's Court. And I think it's the stories. I think we like storytelling, being told stories. And the true crime ones do it really well. And the lawyers in us are like, oh, this is what we thought lawyer was going to be like, right? Get into the details. And really, like, I thought I was going to be a detective who was just happened to have a law license.
Right. I like guessing, though. I want to guess, like, what's going to happen? How's it going to end? How many years is this person going to get for this crime? And sometimes you see that I'm like, this person is innocent. Like, how do they convict this person? Right. So then I think about that too as well. But yeah, no, you're right. Crime, there's something about it for women, but I don't know who else can relate, but I love it.
I think a lot of our listeners will relate because it is a popular genre for women, especially professional women. So now let's talk about engagement exercising, moving your body, engaging with your community, with your social circles? What's your favorite ways to do that?
You know what? I learned how to dance salsa. Finally. Finally. That's how my weight loss actually started was, I'm used to dancing bachata, merengue, and all these other genres, but I was never confident salsa. I only knew the little two-step. I was never really confident salsa person. So I joined salsa classes and it was able to connect not just with lawyers, right? Everybody and anybody that had joined salsa, either Hispanic people or non-Hispanic people joined the class. But I quickly noticed, okay, I'm out of breath. Like I need to get it together. So from then I started, okay, this was during the pandemic. And I'm like, okay, I need to start preparing my own meals. I need to exercise. The gyms were closed. And even when they opened up, Jocelyn, I was too embarrassed to go. For some reason, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be one of the bigger people there when that wasn't the case when I ended up going to the gym. But at first, even before getting there, you think that I downloaded like on YouTube, there's tons and tons of workout videos. And there was this channel named Pop Sugar and they have every single workout video you can possibly imagine for anything, weights, without weight. And I started doing those workout videos just 15 minutes. And then I gradually went up to 30 minutes, then 45 minutes, and then an hour. And then went out for walks outside, but understanding that not everybody has like a trail or a safe sidewalk to use. So I knew that sometimes, especially with our weather, rain, if it's too cold and at night, I didn't walk. So I got me a little treadmill that I got from like the marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. It was used, got me my little treadmill and just set it up. It's corny, but it was first in my living room because I was like, my garage is too hot. I put it in my living room. I'm like, you know what? This is for me and for my health. I don't care if it looks bad. And got on my little treadmill, watch my adjacent ratchet TV while it was playing. And I just go on these walks. And so definitely exercise helps. But what I would say is don't overdo it. Some people just overdo it and they think I have to get all this exercise in and then they'll stick with it. So even if that means you're sitting down in a chair and doing exercise with weights on a chair, something's better than nothing. And start out small, little by little. So for nourishment, I would say that, but also my good on Caribbean food. I can't not do my cheat days. I love my little plantains. I like my little salami, my rice and beans. So I stay true to my Caribbean cooking whenever I can. So definitely food is key. It's a big part of, I don't know, staying connected, not only mentally to my culture, to my friends, eating in a family, like setting with my friends and family. But that Caribbean food, I'm telling you, love it. Love it. Especially my little plantain.
Yes, every time I try to cut back carbs, I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to my rice and my plantains. Everything else can go. No bread, none of the stuff, but I'm gonna have a little bit of my white rice and my black beans, my plantains, because we're, family share an island, so the food is very, very similar. And
Very, very similar.
yeah, but in the Caribbean, they're walking everywhere. So all that starch and stuff, they use it up. We sitting at a desk all
Right.
day.
But here, no. Here it's like you take a car, you park, you don't even walk a mile. Like it's like, what walk? What? But then when we go back home, we're walking everywhere. So
Exactly.
like when we go on vacation, we get like 20,000 steps in like
Yeah.
Rome, but we can't get 10,000 steps at home. Listen, you got to make an effort. That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
We
But you lost a
do.
lot of weight too, Jocelyn.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did. Girl, I was trying on clothes this morning because I'm like, let me get out some of these old clothes I stored away, and I was looking cute, honey. Yeah, so I'm getting some of the old clothes out, but yeah, that's more like you said, preparing the food, planning. I try to walk at least 15 minutes. Just put on sneakers, walk out the door. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but staying engaged, right, and getting that sleep.
Exactly.
Especially because my daughter is a little older, so she sleeps through the night, and I can actually get a full night's
Good.
sleep. All that stuff adds up. So it was such a pleasure talking to you, girl. Any last words for our listeners to let their light shine?
Let's see. Just live authentically. at the end of the day, really live as authentic as you possibly can. You gotta, sometimes shape shift depending on where you are, but find yourself that job that lets you wear your hair like Jocelyn, lets you wear your hair like mine, and get that book. I'm going to start journaling in the book. I'm going to start journaling. I haven't been doing that. I'm going to start journaling in the book and just be yourself and, stay true to who you are and stay true to where you come from and just live authentically as much as you possibly can and shine and take up that space. Really take it up, take up that space. Let your light take up that space that it needs to take because that's it. You only got one life. Live it. Do the best you can with how you can. Stay out of people's business as much as you can and believe in yourself. You can do it.
Okay, that part. It's that part for me. You can do it. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you so much for having me.
As we come to the close of another enlightening episode of Let Your Light Shine, I want to thank you sincerely for joining us today. It's been a true joy and privilege to share this space with you and our inspiring guest. Before we part ways, I'd like to leave you with a small nugget of wisdom to carry with you. Remember, the light you hold within is a beacon of hope, strength, and beauty. It's uniquely yours, and when you let it shine, you not only illuminate your own path, but also light the path of others. If you've been inspired by our conversation today, I would encourage you to explore more at lightshinebook.com, where you can find additional resources and support on your journey to unleashing your inner glow. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who might also benefit from its message. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode of Let Your Light Shine. As we say goodbye for now, remember that every day is an opportunity to embrace your power, cultivate joy, and most importantly, let your light shine. Until next time, I'm Jocelyn Jean-Louis Hardrick, wishing you peace, love, and light. Thank you for listening, and keep shining bright.